Hi my friends, welcome back to a new video today. We'll be talking about reasons why you may feel a bit shaky right now, why you feel like something is shifting really fast, like there's a major vibrational shift happening right now which is causing a huge transformation in all of us, actually in everybody who's embracing the changes that are happening and embracing the energy that is coming up to the surface. So before we start, I just want to mention that I'm filming this video outside, so you may hear some sounds of cicadas, and actually I'm outside in the nature, so we have a really pleasant energy and it's beautiful. So right now we have 6 planets in retrograde, but the main one is Mercury, as you've probably already heard. It went into retrograde on September 9th and it will be in retrograde until October 2nd. So a retrograde takes place when a planet essentially slows down, causing the planet to appear to move backward in the sky from our place on Earth. But actually the truth is that the planet isn't actually moving backward, but it is moving much slower than normally, than usually, which is where the retrograde misshapes can come into play. But every time when that change, that kind of a cosmic event happens, often people start experiencing some changes in their vibrational field. And what is happening as the planet slows down a little bit, what actually happens is that everything we've been before expressing outwards, sometimes when we're overthinking, we just express our thoughts, and we all know people which just can't stop talking. And that's how it looks when we constantly express what's coming up, and sometimes we feel certain pain, traumas, we feel certain fears, and we are constantly expressing that energy outwards. But when we go into a retrograde, a certain change happens and suddenly all of that energy starts expressing inwards. So it's like we would start experiencing a reflection in the mirror. In other words, it's like we would start actually sensing how the energy feels like, the one that we are expressing most of the time, how this energy feels like. So why it is important? The only way to actually become aware of what you're constantly expressing is to feel how it feels like, what you're sending out. And that's why we have this retrogrades moments. Every single year it is happening, and every time it is happening, people start blaming the planets and those cosmic events for certain problems or challenges in their lives. But I always call it a huge blessing, because in order to transform, we need to go through challenging times, right? In order to change, you need to step into the uncomfort zone. In order to fully awaken, in order to become free, you need to tap into the aspects of yourself which were hidden in the darkness, right? And that's what this cosmic event is actually helping you to tap into the darkness and fully enlighten yourself. Because, for somebody who would describe him or herself as a spiritual person, it's not about just practicing certain routines or rituals, but it's actually about enlightening the darkness within ourselves. That's where we embrace the light. That's where we become lighter, and we actually acknowledge more of what was bothering us before, more of what was limiting our life's experiences before. So what are the things that are actually right now, let's say that way, what this event is helping you right now on your path? Because this is something that came up to me today as I was meditating. I always ask, what's the thing that I could share with you today? What's the valuable information that I could share with you? And I received this, that there are 5 things we need to understand about what's happening when it comes to this retrograde at this time. And the first one is that this is a truly important phase of deep introspection. As everything is shifting on the world, we are shifting, right? And because we are shifting, so much is shifting even more. So it means as we are waking up to a greater degree of self-awareness, means that we are changing the way we think, firstly, the way we see ourselves. And as we're changing that self-perspective or self-perception, we can't go back in business as before, right? We are slowly like embracing what we've learned. And once we embrace what we've learned, we start acting differently, right? And when we start acting differently, we actually start projecting new energy. And that's what starts bringing us new results. That's why you're experiencing so many synchronicities. That's why you may be having really vivid dreams right now. So much is changing. And deep introspection can help us to recognize the changes, because changes are always happening, and we all know that. But if we don't actually pay attention to what is changing, we may say, well, I feel stuck, like nothing is moving forward, just because you're not experiencing the results you would like to see. And actually so much is changing. If you look at your life, maybe you have different desires. Maybe you've become more self-aware. Maybe you look on your emotions a bit differently. Maybe you've started observing your thoughts. And what I mean by that, there's actually a meditation where you just observe your thoughts without controlling them, without trying to change them. But you start searching the space between one thought and another. And that is actually a moment where we learn so much about how we think and why we feel the way we feel. Because each thought triggers an emotion. And if we are not aware of our thoughts, we will never know why we feel the way we feel. So deep introspection can help us to understand ourselves much better. And as I mentioned before, as there's so much happening within us right now, that deep introspection can help us truly understand ourselves on much deeper level. And that is actually what we all need to do. We need to learn to understand ourselves better, because sometimes we just project our insecurities to others just because we are afraid of certain things. But once we gain a greater understanding of ourselves, we become more compassionate towards ourselves. And we all know that we are only able to treat others as well as we are treating ourselves. So it is an important moment. The second thing is that it's a beautiful time of embracing the discomfort and finding the balance between the pleasant and unpleasant experiences. This is something we were talking yesterday in the previous video, and I just want to bring it up a little bit today, but I want to encourage you to check the previous video because it was more in details about this topic. So, to embrace the pleasant and unpleasant experiences, actually it's much easier to embrace the pleasant experiences, but that's what weakens us if we don't tap into the unpleasant experiences, right? But finding the balance between pleasant and unpleasant experiences is actually strengthening our souls. So, we truly need to find that balance between one side and another until we find the middle way. And middle way is where the peace is, where the harmony is. And more often we are practicing, searching and creating that balance between one side and another, faster and easier it will for us be to get into the middle point where we are in peace with ourselves. And as I mentioned yesterday, if you want to make a masterpiece out of your life, you firstly need to master peace in your life. And this is something truly important. So to master peace in your life, you need to find that middle spot, the sweet spot between pleasant and unpleasant. And that's where everything uncomfortable will become much easier, because you will stop judging it as a bad thing, as a challenging thing. But you will rather see it as an opportunity to grow, to evolve, to upgrade your consciousness. And that's where you will use then comfort zone as a zone of rejuvenation, zone of relaxation, zone of recharging your batteries, zone where you slow down and you ground yourself, so you can go then with full power into the uncomfortable zone or discomfort zone, and you embrace it and you see what else can you learn about yourself. This is something truly powerful to me. Then the third thing is a deeper understanding of why you are here on this planet right at this time. So not often we think that we are actually here present right at this unique time. And you know how often we are actually wondering, why is that? Like, we could be here 100 years later or 100 years before, but we are right now. Maybe we were, but we are here right now present in this really transformative process. And my message here is that what I've learned in my life, that the soul is only exposed to what it is able to handle. So it means that you're exposed to these challenging times right now because within you is a unique power which can help this world to transform into a beautiful form of it. So we can together manifest much more beautiful place, or we can together learn to become who we are actually meant to be. And together we are stronger, and power is in unity. And that's what we are learning right now. So in tuning within yourself, contacting your intuition and your higher self will help you to gain a greater understanding why you're here right now, right at this time. So questions like, what can I learn right now? What should I embrace right now? Where my path is leading me? And what's my soul mission? Those are powerful questions you could set to yourself. So the answers can guide you into that greater understanding of this present time for yourself. So maybe you can write it down if you're, writing things down right now. Those are powerful questions, and they will help you to find or realize greater guidance for this point of your life. Then the fourth thing is that this is a time where we are training our spiritual senses. What are our spiritual senses? Well, I mentioned intuition, it's a well-known sense, but then we have higher senses. There's a sense which is connecting us with our higher self. And there's a sense which is connecting us with the source. And we need to work on the senses. Some people call them spiritual organs, which are actually not physical, but they are within us. They are a part of us. And we need to work on them to activate those energy centers. So we are able to, firstly, to communicate with our higher selves, because higher self is actually a concept. It's like an idea that there's an aspect of you which is wiser and older beyond time. And once you are able to connect and communicate with your higher self, you, rather than start seeking answers outside of you, you sit down, you get into that zone of quietness, and you just ask for guidance, you ask for advice, you ask for a message or whatever you need. And that's what I do every time I sit down to ask for what I could share with you. If there's like no inspiration present within me, that's what I do. And I do it the same for my art, like what could be the next painting that I could share, or how to transform this message into a painting, and I receive a vision. So I don't want to say that it will happen the same for you, but it will happen uniquely for you, the way that you can understand it the best, or that it will be the most understandable for you. So it is a truly powerful time for working on your spiritual senses. So my message is always to stop looking on everything as good and bad, as always, people describe this Mercury retrograde as something hard, something heavy, something negative. But actually it is helping us to transform on that spiritual level, so that we can later embody that new spiritual energy in the physical form. So we can bring it onto the physical plane, and that's where we start projecting a completely new energy on this world. So this is to me something really, really powerful, and I hope it can help you to understand these present energies a little bit better. So if you're facing right now with something really heavy, like let's say some traumatic memories are coming up, some, memories from your childhood, maybe some inner wounds may become more intense right now, you may feel something unpleasant on that emotional level. Just in tune with that, go into it, just observe it, just without judging yourself. Sit down in nature or play some beautiful music in your ears, put it in, and just observe those unpleasant experiences and see what will happen. Because usually when we observe something unpleasant, the energy is slowly releasing itself. Because it was stored, it was suppressed. And all we actually need to do is just to observe it, just to open ourselves to it. That's where we turn light into that dark area of ourselves. And that's where we enlighten something heavy, something dark, something painful. So if we stay consistent with that process, at some point we may just become a pure light. And it doesn't mean that it will happen just immediately once you will try it, but this time is really powerful for doing those things, because we have times when we are just embracing the fear and we are doing something really hard, and we do things even though we don't feel like doing them. But right now, this is the time where we are just embracing the discomfort, and we are doing that deep in introspection, and we are just reading ourselves and reading our energy and observing how much of our energy is changing, and we are in tuning with ourselves and truly being here for ourselves, like building that relationship with yourself. That's something truly, truly important. And the last thing, the fifth thing, is that it's time to trust wholeheartedly that what is meant for you is already yours. So what I mean by that, I mean that you don't chase things, so stop chasing things. You attract things, so start attracting things. It's actually not about having what you want right now, but learning to embrace the idea that you can make it anytime. This is where we recognize that, well, if I want to have something in my life, I will make it happen. I will create it. I will firstly imagine it. Then I will ask myself, can I use the tools that I have right now to make it happen? Whatever you have right now, could you use it? You have technology, you have internet, you have tools, you have a pencil and a piece of paper. You can write a plan. You can write some affirmations, you can write some intentions. I want to share a quick story with you. Because just a few days ago, I found an old blog in which I was writing my dreams 5 years ago. I was writing down, what I wrote actually. I wrote that firstly, I will experience success on YouTube. And that will help me to make money, so I will be able to make a living out of doing my art. And then I will start selling prints on my Etsy shop, and I wrote something like that, like the selling will blow up. The shop will start growing really fast, and I will start selling so much of my prints. It was something like that, not exactly that, but something like that. And I was reading this a few days ago, and I started laughing because all of that happened in the exact sequence. Then later I wrote, the things like what kind of car I want to have, what kind of hobbies I want to have, how much free time I want to have, how I want to live my life, and things like that. And you know, when I was reading those things, I almost started crying because out of gratitude, because all of those things happened. It was 5 years ago I wrote those things down. So I want to remind you that you are much more powerful than you think you are. And doesn't matter how often I will say this to you, we actually truly never understand it until we recognize that something like that happens in our lives. So I want to encourage you to write your dreams down, to truly write a plan for your life from your present limited perspective. Doesn't matter, you know, doesn't matter how much you believe that it's possible, doesn't matter how much knowledge you have right now about these things, like how will you achieve it. Write it down and just trust wholeheartedly that what is meant for you is already yours, but not maybe in this present moment, but in the future moment, in that potential future which is about to happen for you, just at the right time, when you will be ready, when you will embrace enough of darkness so you will have enough of strength to have what you want to have. And you know, you always attract more of who you know that you are. So it's important to gain that self-awareness and to recognize that we are powerful, that we are truly powerful. And it's simple, it sounds simple, but it's something that, you know, we shouldn't complicate. It's something that we should just keep it simple and just trust that it is real. So write things down, my friends, and work on that mission, because this is truly something that you are meant to experience. So I will leave you here, my friends. I hope you've enjoyed today's painting. I'm sharing today with you a painting named Luck. I want to share so much of that lucky energy to you, because you are lucky, and remind yourself that you are lucky. So put that beautiful smile on your face and just say to yourself, today I'm just lucky. Luck is on my side. And every single day, start your day like that, because luck will always be on your side. Luck is something we create, right? So my friends, I also want to remind you that we are running a sale, 15 off, to all the prints in our Etsy shop. You can find it on Etsy by the name I Draw My Passion. Feel free to go and check it out. And to everyone who needs some daily reminders, go and check out my Instagram page, AttractPassion, AttractPassion, and my other Instagram page, I Draw My Passion, where I'm sharing my art with you. This is it for today. Have a beautiful day. Until next time, one love.